Good evening, Mountain House. Brian Harrison here with Mountain House Matters. Welcome to Moho TV. Special edition. We have with us I won't say infamous, we'll say the famous Matt Disko, the founder and CEO of the all-new Mountain House Chamber of Commerce, is here to discuss the happenings that's going on with the chamber. There's a way for people to register. There's going to be an event this Sunday, April 21st, as a surprise opening. I guess surprise is probably the wrong word. Let me back up. Welcome, Matt.
Hey.
Good to have you here.
Hey,
Thanks
Brian.
for coming on.
For arranging this. This is cool.
Yeah, glad you could be here.
Our own TV studio in Mountain House. Who would have figured?
Right? So we're here with Khalid Saleh, who's running the technicalities for us. And we are live streaming on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page. So you can tell your friends, come check it out, and it'll be there recorded so you can watch afterward too. So we wanted to have Matt on tonight because this weekend, this Sunday, April 21st, he's hosting a special grand opening event for the Mountain House Chamber of Commerce. And the goal there is to begin to have business become more to the forefront, I guess.
Right.
So tell us about the origins of how you came up with doing this.
Well, I think you know the origins because a year ago we were having a conversation about, hey, Mountain House is going to need a chamber if it's going to be a real city. And we have enough local businesses here, not only in the storefronts, but there are so many unknown businesses out of many residents' homes and houses in Mountain House that could use Spotlight. And I'm sure there's a lot of services and offerings that I'm constantly having to network myself. So I said, well, why not make a nonprofit entity out of this and be able to highlight everybody in town who's running something out of their house or out of their garage. And so that's what the celebration of this weekend is a kickoff to the Mountain House Chamber with our launch party. So we'll be hosting it at an undisclosed location at 3 o'clock on Sunday. You must go to mountainhousechamber.com and register for the emailing list to get a VIP invitation to a registration site and register there as well. But we want to capture your email so that you can learn more about what offerings and services there are here in Mountain House that maybe don't know how to market themselves and don't even realize they could be selling to their neighbor.
Well, and just the opportunity for people to network with one another and get to know more that they have friends and neighbors in business.
Sure.
and to work together.
Exactly.
To build our community a little stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be open to businesses with storefronts, with offices that we do have in the Zaytech complex. There are some offices.
Sure.
It could be open to any business that people run out of their homes, or even if is it open to businesses that are not necessarily located in Mountain House?
So ideally, we're targeting the hyper-local businesses that have an address, whether it's a registered address on Google Maps for their business or advertised address. But if you live here, you are a franchise here, you have a storefront here, you operate out of your office in your 5th bedroom, but you can offer any type of service or consulting or anything that you would monetize off of, we want you to come down to the launch party and celebrate with us and network with other people and build connections and build business between each other and others and see how you can ping referrals off of each other for things that you're offering.
And the way for people to be able to come to the party is to register on your website.
Mountainhousechamber.com. First thing you see on the landing page will be the invitation to sign up for the registration by entering your email address and your name. That's all we're asking for. Don't need any more information than that. Just give us your email so that we can spam you with good spam, tasty spam that tastes like Mountain House business. So that'll eventually drive tax revenue, and more sales tax we have in town, the less tax has to get passed on to residents. And that's the ultimate goal here, is to stimulate our local economy, build our local economy, show that the businesses here are thriving, and take that data to the developers and say, this is what you're missing out on by leaving all these retail lots empty. Go ahead and build some storefronts and people will lease them out and sell stuff so that we don't have to drive to Tracy for everything or Livermore for everything or Dublin. But it's back to the invitation, this is open ideally to Mountain House, but if people come from Byron, Tracy, Livermore, we're not going to stop them from registering. It's just, we hope that they're coming here to network and stimulate business with our local commerce and build relationships and, help each other build their brand. So that'll be what we'll do at 3:00 is a networking hour where everyone can meet and greet. We'll have some samplings and everyone gets tacos from Los Primos Tacos Tex-Mex truck by registering on the website for the mailing list and then getting the email and using the call to action to actually RSVP for the event. And then we also have Bougie Bar, who's going to be doing some delicious desserts. And all this is complimentary.
I was just going to ask.
With our partners who are Los Primos Tex-Mex, Bougie Bar, and also Confetti, who's been off the grid while they restructure and get a new food truck set up. They're going to do a pop-up and offer free boba. So everyone in attendance, 16 and over, we're not allowing kids because we want this to be a business thing. We want to invite kids who are soon to be becoming adults so we can get them in a business mentality and so that they can kind of hear what's going on and what kind of networking and connections are being made, and then hopefully plant that seed so that when they're 18, maybe they're ready to start their own business or e-commerce or something on the side while going to school, right?
There are kids even in business at 16, so it's there for them. So there's no cost to come to this event.
No cost.
But you do need to register with your email on the website. Mm-hmm. And have you worked out how it's going to work to be a member of the chamber?
So that's what we're going to divulge for the attendees there. And we're going to start at 3:00 with the networking hour. Around 4:15, we'll do our own ribbon cutting. We've done 2 so far. 3. We've done Assure Medical, the
Aviara.
urgent care. We did Aviara's apartment complex a week after. And just a few weeks ago, we did the Haagen-Dazs, but we haven't done our own ribbon cutting yet. So it's our turn, There
you go.
We've done 3. But
so there will be a ribbon cutting as well.
There will be a ribbon cutting around 4:15. We'll have some VIP dignitaries from different county, state officials coming out to present some stuff. And once we do our ribbon cutting, we'll take a quick 15-minute break. And then at 4:30, I'm actually going to host a class for emerging businesses that may not know how to prove their concept and gain early adopters and win influencers to solicit their brand for them and generate marketing so that they can kind of blitzkrieg their business versus having to go through pounding the pavement to get their name out there. So that'll be a free offering as well that we'll do from 4:30 to 5:30. And then for those who stick around and are really into the chamber, I'd like to do QA with them and get feedback from them and see what they expect out of the chamber, what the things that they want. Because I have an idea of what people want, what people need to, generate new business and create new leads and kind of break ground and blaze some trails to really get their name out there. But I want to hear what the pain points current business owners are having so that we can take that into account and then we can build that into our offering. And we're not going to sign anybody up this weekend. We're building up the hype for July 1st when our official first chamber.
When we're actually a city.
Right. When we're an actual city is when we will officially become available to local businesses to join as members. And we have different things like business fairs and networking events that we'll plan throughout the summer while everyone's hopefully not on vacation, but on a break with, the kids off school, not having as crazy of a schedule, hopefully doing these things on weekends when people aren't commuting, since everyone's going back to work, if you work 9 to 5s and have a side business for your potential retirement hustle. So that's the ultimate goal, is to generate the hype, keep the momentum going. When I announced this at your Mountain House Matters political, I said I'm going to be ready by April 1st. What I didn't realize is forming a 501c6, which is different from a C3, is a little lengthier of a process. So we can't technically take any money until we have that 501c, or I'm paying what I would as a private or as a corporation, right? Because we're currently an LLC, and in order to reduce the amount of costs, give people tax write-offs for joining, we have to be a 501c6 in action. So right now we've formulated the LLC. We've submitted Right. We can't be in pending status. So we're not going to take any money, but
501c3, I think you can do it as a pending.
501(c)(3) you can. 501c6, you have to wait until you actually formulate before you take any money, especially from members. So, so we're just waiting for that. That'll come the next month or so. And then we'll start onboarding in June. And then July 1st will be when we start our subscription model. So every July 1st through 365 days, and we'll discuss the pricing and different options. You know, for smaller businesses, they may not have the upfront costs or the upfront budget to be able to jump into something for a year. So we'll work with them on quarterly basis and stuff like that. And it'll be different pricing models, but we'll divulge all of that to the attendees. And then based on the feedback we get from that, then we'll push out another email sometime in the coming week or two on how those different structures actually look on paper once we get the feedback that we need to create our offerings and membership benefits. And then we'll hit the ground running July 1st while I'm juggling getting everything formulated.
Many balls in the air. Yeah.
Always. I get bored very easily. So
the website again is mountainhousechamber.com.
mountainhousechamber.com, mountainhousechamber.org, mountainhousechamberofcommerce.com. I got them all.
So one of those. If nothing else, Google Mountain House Chamber, and you'll no doubt find it. Get yourself registered so you can get in on the mailings and be in the know on that. I don't know how much you can even speak to this, but I know that there was talk the other night at the board meeting to establish a city clerk. How much will that help with business filings and registrations?
Well, we have a city clerk right now. It's just a city clerk /HR. And so when we become a city, that's going to be overwhelming for one person to do, right? Just like when Angel Lamb, bless her soul, for being able to wear all the startup hats, right? She did all communications, events, Parks and Rec, like uncanny
reservations. She did so much.
And I used to judge her like, why can't you get anything done? It's like, oh, because I don't know on the back end you're doing 20 other things, right? And like now I see what each person does. And now we have, speaking on that, we have a communications manager who's going to handle all of our PR and internal comms and Confluence so that everyone's on the same page in-house, so that when people ask questions outside and come into the city, and this is public knowledge because we just spoke about it at the last board meeting. But so we're doing the same thing where, you know, Parks and Rec now has their own manager, communications will have its own manager, HR will have its own manager, and the city clerk.
Nicole doesn't have to do all those other jobs.
And I think Nicole's migrating in one direction or another, either maintaining the city clerk position or HR. I don't know, but she's not going anywhere.
No.
No.
And it seems the education she's been doing is leaning more towards HR. But
yeah, who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. So as we move forward, the developers are going to have to pay attention. And I guess is what you're going for, is because I've heard you say a number of times that there's no more facilities for people to lease or rent.
We don't have a single square foot of retail space available. We have a bunch of warehouses that would look great if they could possibly get rezoned, but that's up to the council, right? So
the council could take that up once you get to
council could take that up, and we may have a local mega gym with trampoline house and indoor pickleball.
And those facilities aren't built to accommodate large.
They're not, so they'd have to be modified with egress for emergency exits. The parking situation would have to be figured out. You may have to build a parking lot across the street and build in a crosswalk. So it's going to be a while. It's not anything that's going to happen July 1st, or let alone 2024.
Any new development is going to take a little while.
Correct. Yeah. But I just learned that Mustangs, we're not going to talk about that. I just learned that Mustang and Central, Red Rose, who jumped in on Andy's thing the other day, is pretty confident that December 2025, we're going to have more retail space right in the middle of town. And that was one thing when we spoke about the rezoning at the county level with the planning commission was we were about to give up one of our prime commercial lots right in front of Central Park with houses on 26 Main Street directly across from the splash zone. And we're building an amphitheater between that and the library. So they're going to have front row seats of noise when they don't want them. And it's going to create issues for a brand new amphitheater that seats 3,000 people. And that's a prime spot of real estate for anything, right? It could be storefronts. It could be drive-through. It could be dine-in restaurants.
Initially, I think it was planned for a hardware store or something on that level. But
I don't know if that's going to happen. But
well,
you know,
that's probably not happening.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was the thought, is that that's not going to happen. But
I don't know if we need another convenience. We got Wickland Market, we got Safeway. I think convenience stores are covered. But you know,
could
if we
be
could get some
restaurants, even
restaurants, you know,
if you've got the amphitheater,
T-Hub 2.0. And if you have the amphitheater, everything going on at the park, it'd be great to just walk across the street and be able to buy something at the local shop rather than having to plan ahead. And I know a lot of times people go to the park and they're like, oh, now we got to drive all the way to Safeway to get ketchup or plates or, right? So I don't know, just it all, like Andy said, it all comes down to who is willing to take the risk and open this thing, let alone somebody on top of that to build it and keep
and
the
have
spaces
people
occupied.
support it.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to open up a bunch of businesses that are going to fail. That's just
Sure.
it's gonna
But I
be-
mean, Cordes Plaza's off the grid, and that
It's
place
doing
is
well.
always pretty busy.
Of course, the location is ideal with both the high school
Sure.
and the elementary. Right
But even
there.
off hours, from when the kids are in school all day, there's still traffic going through there, especially on weekends. So
Yeah.
It is sustaining at the moment, and I hope it continues if people support the local businesses. And that's the thing the chamber wants to pitch is support local, right? We have so many different commerce opportunities for people to merch and sell and offer services, consulting, tax prep. You know, the list goes on of people that I'm constantly getting messaged and texts for. Hey, do you know somebody who does this, this, and this? And it's like, I have a little bit of everything, but it would be nice if I don't personally have to do that. And I can say, yeah, check out the chamber members page. And there's just like the classified and Mountain House Matters, you got a few dozen different vendors who offer different services. But if we could put that in the digital era of where Mountain House Chamber hosts kind of like a yellow pages for town, I feel like that would
that
definitely
is
help.
digital too. I mean, you can find
Sure. But you got to go flip through the PDF
Right.
and all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
It's a little cumbersome to have to go through
It's not like
all that
a database directory. or
Right,
anything, yeah.
right. So that's that, and just we want to partner and we want to help provide the marketing plans for these businesses and, you know, target all the residents by getting as many people to sign up for the mailing list. And we're not going to spam people with junk, but at the same time, we are going to highlight new businesses or highlight new discovered businesses that people might not know about that everyone in town could benefit from. And that's the ultimate goal here, is to kind of highlight everybody. And as members, they'll get an opportunity to do that once a year through with the weekly mailings that'll go out from this email.
Oh, so everybody who signs up,
Everybody
For this,
signs up
they'll
will get
be on
that,
that.
and those who participate as members will be highlighted, and that's part of the plan. I don't think we have more than 100 businesses in town at the moment that we can highlight. So every week, 2 businesses will get an interview and highlighted, and get to tell about their products and direct people to their websites, and you'll have hyperlinks right there. You can click and go and check out what Haagen-Dazs is having on sale this week, or whoever, right? The Sierra's home T-shirt business or printing business, right? The Valentina and her investments swag business for businesses that want to print pens and lapels and whatever they need for, if they're going to an expo to showcase their stuff at their specialized expo, then there's somebody in town here who can do that for you. It's just nobody knows they exist.
so part of the process then is to really illustrate to developers and investors, property investors, that they could benefit by building storefronts.
Sure, but I
or
mean, the
office
first
complex, maybe.
The first step of that, though, is people supporting what we currently have in town and paying that extra 50 cents compared to driving to Tracy and wasting that money in gas and thinking, oh, I got something for cheaper because I drove my Tesla and I charged overnight and it didn't cost me anything in gas. And then the other person spending $5 a gallon in gas saying, oh, well, for the whole family of 5, I just saved $2.50 per item, right? It's like you just spent that much more time to drive money and tax revenue to an area that doesn't affect your taxes.
Well, you're actually making a good argument for people shopping at Safeway too.
Sure.
And supporting that. And that's
I was kind of alluding to that. I didn't want to directly call it out,
but
yep.
People for years, for those of us who have been here for a long time, people for years were crying out to get a Safeway, get a grocery store. Some level, Safeway was always the default of who we were going to get. And there were different milestones. Generally, 5,000 rooftops was when they were going to start hopefully getting planning together. And I think that the developers actually went above and beyond to make Safeway happen. So when it did, and Safeway took a chance because it's barely big enough of a populace for them to expect to be able to be adequately supported.
And it's not extremely convenient going down Byron Highway when you're already rushing home to somewhere else and you have a local Safeway. It doesn't make sense to stop over and get ice cream when you still have another 20-minute drive, right? So,
well, for ice cream, maybe.
Right.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, especially if your home Safeway is 50 cents cheaper per item, right? So it doesn't, it's just not, I'm just saying it's not an easy, convenient pull in. Nobody realizes they can drive around the store and jump back on Byron. They think they have to go battle the Starbucks traffic and then make a left on Mountain House Parkway and then get back on Byron. But you really don't even have to hit any lights aside from the light you're already going to pass anyway.
And it'll be nice when there's a road that goes straight through to get from town right into Safeway. But that could be some time off. I don't think it's in the immediate plans.
I think Central Park 3.0 is when that'll happen. So we're breaking ground on Central Park 2.0, which Andy touched on this. But for those who weren't watching Andy's, we got the 6 new tennis courts, the $1 million dog park with big and small dog amenities in private areas or segregated areas, and then the amphitheater, which I'm currently advising as much as I can to make sure it's going to be used by people outside of the CSD through rentals, so that we get some money back from people wanting to do concerts or events or graduations. Or
that's where some local businesses, restaurants and stuff nearby could be of a big benefit, both for the people attending and just for business in town.
Sure.
So yeah, I've kind of had a vision that if you're going to build an amphitheater, where I grew up in Walnut Creek and Pleasant Hill, Concord area, they had the Concord Pavilion. And initially it was just a little bit larger than this is going to be. It was like 3,500 seats, I think, counting the grass area. And this will be 2,500, I believe, thereabouts. So,
and that's if we do the 200 chairs in the pit. If you remove those, it's all flat ground, and then you have levels, and that'll increase.
Can do more.
Yep.
Which would be cheaper to build, I suppose, too. But
well, it's the chairs are removable, so you have an orchestra pit level where the seats are, which is about 205 seats, if I recall, and then if you remove those, that increases your capacity.
You could have them for a particular event if you wanted to.
Correct. Yeah. But if you're doing like a Diwali Mela or a Holy Festival or a standing concert or a dance party, it doesn't make sense to have chairs in the front and then everyone's just standing, and then you have the ledges of the multiple tiers that are, each tier is flat as well until you get up at the grass, and it's a little more graded for viewability if you're sitting on a blanket. So.
But to have an actual amphitheater that can be used on a professional level,
right,
and maybe not bring top-notch acts in because it's probably not big enough for that.
And the high school spends tens of thousands of dollars in rentals and things like that they have to convert their stadium to be, and Mountain House Events provides the audio for that and has bid on the staging, and it's a substantial cost that they could cut down to 10% if the facilities were provided with the same amount of capacity that we already have in the amphitheater now, right? You don't have to rent the chairs, rent all the picket fences. You can decorate the amphitheater and just, I don't know, when I graduated, we rented a local amphitheater because our school didn't have big enough facilities.
Yeah, I graduated at the Concord Pavilion.
Cool.
So yeah, that's what they did, because then you could just bring everybody there. And at that time it was around 3,000 or 3,500 seats. And now they later expanded it so that they could get bigger name acts in. I think it's about 12,000 or so. It's not like the Shoreline, but it's much more substantial than it originally was.
Well, it may overgrow.
But I don't know that we need to be that. If we just had something that was on a professional level that you could bring acts in or bring different events in and draw people into town. And
that's what we're talking about with the developers right now, different rigging and needs for touring professionals to be able to come in and utilize the space, so that event promoters are like, oh, it's easy and it looks aesthetically clean to come in and bring in a production and sell 2,000 tickets for a ticketed event, 10, 20 bucks or whatever, for an actual showcase artist, not just whoever we can get because our overhead's so high just in the production and facility costs. So, yeah.
Sounds good. And the whole notion of driving business, the accessibility and the visibility of local businesses up to where you can show developers that there's
and not just the developers, the other businesses that need to fill those new spaces the developers are going to build, right? Like we get a Chick-fil-A or some Dave's Hot Chicken out here. I'm just saying, like, they're not going to come and take that risk, just like Safeway didn't, until they know it's sustainable and the builders aren't going to scale out and build more facilities if they don't see businesses sticking around in their current footprints that they have leased, right?
Yes, we need to have
everyone
successful
drops out
businesses.
after a year lease. It doesn't make sense to build anything else because there's going to be a turnover rate and people can just wait, right? But if we can get all these businesses to stay and thrive and grow and possibly open a second location for hotspots that are seeing lines every day, right? Like the taco shop could probably use a second spot sometimes, but I doubt they're personally going to launch it. But we have 2 Safeways. Both those, I mean, we have 2 Starbucks, and those Starbucks between
They seem to
Safeway
be
and
working.
seem to be fine. So I think we're out of room for Starbucks, but I wouldn't complain if we had a Phil's.
Yeah, or a Pete's or something.
yeah.
There's lots you could do for sure. It sounds very intriguing. So if you haven't gone to the website yet, go there now and sign up. And the party will start at 3:00.
Yep. So we're just about 60% of our RSVP capacity. Our
okay. There
private
is a
space is limited. We don't want to have too many, and we are working with sponsors who are, some of the costs are offset, but they're ultimately promoting their business and providing these offerings as sponsors. So we don't want to put too much of our burden with having 500 people there on them. So we're capping it at 250 and probably see 200 show up, right? Because there's always a drop off. Somebody gets sick, whatever. Somebody forgot about something. Anniversary. Things you forget about on a daily basis, right? So that stuff kind of comes up for 25% of the crowd whenever you look down at it and see who actually shows up to your event that RSVP'd for free, right? You pay for something, you're probably going to show up, but you don't pay for something. It's like,
It's easier to blow it off.
want to go to dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Movie time.
But you'll have food and
Yep. We'll have tacos. We'll have tacos, the dessert treats from tacos from Los Primos Tex-Mex, dessert treats from Bougie Bar, and free boba from Confetti Tea Confectionery, which hasn't been seen at the farmer's market in a couple of months because they've been restructuring their food truck and rebuilding a new one. So going away from the trailer and actually putting it with a steering wheel. So it's not as cumbersome as having to go to the storage. And anyway, yeah.
Well, and the farmers market has been really excelling of late.
It has.
It demonstrates that there is a demand that can be met.
There is, yeah.
For business
and there's
to
lots
thrive.
of local businesses that pop up there that people didn't know existed, and they keep coming back because it's successful for them to bring their little mom and pop startup that they've handcrafted or that they're making at home, their jams, whatever it may be, right? And they're coming out.
Neighbors doing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
So if we can highlight them, there's jam collectors, right? If we have 5 different jam manufacturers in town certain times of year, people store it because it's preserved, right? You don't have to eat it right away.
well,
I have
true,
to eat my hummus right away, so I only go to the market every other week to restock on my hummus.
Well,
but
cookies and treats and stuff like that too.
I stay away from that.
Yeah, try to. So I'd love to have you come back on maybe after the event, and we can talk about
Sure.
next steps and how it's
We
going.
can show some video and
when we get
drive some
close
more
to
traffic
the
to the
launch
site.
date on July 1st and what you have in mind there, and
Sure.
and where you foresee it going. We could do multiples of these and have you back a number of times and just
sure. Until people get sick of me and say, "Hey, don't bring that guy back."
when
anymore.
people get sick of you, then we'll just say
They liked Andy. They hit up Andy twice in a week. One
Yes.
first wasn't enough, and they
Well,
you need to-
the first one's because he promised to do a town hall, so he did that. So
Not having this crazy. The first wasn't enough, and they well, the first one's because he promised to do a town hall, so he did that.
I'm not sure what happened.
deja vu.
Technical glitch.
Are we live? Freeze? Oh, okay.
Khalid, I did a little promo for the Cinco de Mayo event at the Mountain House Bar and Grill. Do we have that? It's about a 30-second thing here. See how it came out. There you go. Cinco de Mayo at
right.
Mountain House Bar and Grill. We didn't see it, but hopefully you did. So there we go. Is there any final thing you might want to say about the event on Sunday?
I'm going to save the surprise for there to help people navigate to mountainhousechamber.com and sign up for the mailing list so they get the VIP invite. And then
It's going to be a bit of a treasure hunt, so to speak, huh?
it will. You got to go to the website first and then log in, and then you'll get an email that kind of helps us confirm you gave us a legitimate email, and then we'll send you the link to RSVP for free, and then you'll come get a bunch of free stuff and learn about the chamber, and we'll save the surprise for then. I just want to kind of tease with a little more here, and then we'll really kind of expel everything that is on the horizon for us to the people who are genuinely interested.
So you'll get the information by registering with your email, and the event, put it on your calendar, is this Sunday, April 21st at 3:00.
And we will be checking registrations. There will be kind of a checkpoint, so to speak, before we give up the location. So be ready for an adventure.
A super secret location.
Yeah. I've got to make it fun. It's like,
sure.
You can't just give it away and be like, we'll come to Central Park. It's like everyone does that. So,
Exactly.
okay, sure. Rotary Club, yes, nonprofits are absolutely welcome. There will be a nonprofit rate compared to commercial. Where am I looking?
I believe we're working on a deal with the BNI group too.
Yeah. So yes, Rotary. Sierra asks, can Rotary Club join the chamber? For instance, Rotary Club of Mountain House. Well, absolutely, because you're
Especially
kind of a local business. It's nonprofit.
it is a nonprofit.
You don't pay taxes. We're not going to hold that against you.
And we
Unless you
do
make
have a
business.
Kiwanis club in town too. I imagine they might
be great to have
involved.
The more the merrier. I mean, if we can get, every hidden business, every public business that's sitting there that opens 9 to 5 with a storefront, the mom and pops, the consultants, the insurance agents, the brokers, the 50,000 real estate agents we have living in town. Well, that's a big number. Probably about 5,000 out of 30,000. But yeah, everybody's a real estate agent, right? So we
do
can get
have
them
our
all
share.
signed up. And this is a safe zone for everyone to come and network. There's no competition, right? It's like we will get to you and highlight you. And it doesn't matter. Depends on what you want us to highlight to people as a member, right? We're not going to write it for you. We'll help script it, but we're not going to tell you how you do your business. We want to hear how you do your business. Maybe, interviews, things like that will come later. But for now, we just kind of want to focus on giving them exposure so that people know they exist, and then people
Amplifying
explore.
word of mouth.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And slowing down my text message rate per day of how many referrals I have to literally give 10, 20, sometimes 30 referrals in a single day of text, Facebook, all that stuff. And I love to network, but I also have to do my work. Now I'm going to have to do the chamber, or now I'm going to have to be on city council and pay a lot of attention to that. I won't have time to do as much of that. Not saying don't do it if you need it and you can't find it on your own, but I would like to centralize that and automate that so that I can focus on more important things than networking.
And as the
for
chamber
everybody else.
grows, you can probably have some other people involved.
Right. And we do. We have,
helping make it
we
happen.
currently have a secretary and a treasurer who I'll introduce, and we are looking for additional members for memberships, onboarding support, event coordinators to host the networking events and mixers that we're going to do. So
I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, should be fun.
So it's a big grand opening event this Sunday, April 21st at 3:00. You have to register on the website. If you didn't get that already, mountainhousechamber.com.org.tv maybe.
I've missed that one. We'll leave that for the others.
Yeah, whatever. .net probably. Yeah. Just look for the Mountain House Chamber. You'll find it.
So the chamber is launching, and
The chamber will become active at the
chamber
same
is
time.
launching, where we're publicly going out and recruiting new members, and then in June we'll start onboarding them, and then July 1st is when their subscription will start for 1 year, or quarterly if they're a small business. And
At the same time that we become a city.
right, but this Sunday is going to be crucial for us hearing feedback to understand how we need to build and structure this thing, because not every chamber is built the same. Each chamber is structured a different way to meet the demographics and demand for commerce in their area, right? So that's what we want to hear this Sunday during the closing 30 minutes from 5:30 to 6 from people who are attending and genuinely interested now, so that we can keep them and like-minded people interested later and know how we can help them thrive and highlight them and showcase them to residents. So
what you're saying is you will be listening for feedback. And
correct. So that's when
acting on what people's
I'll stick
wishes.
around after 6 to do Q&A and do more feedback, but I want to do a public QA and kind of do a think tank with everyone who stays for the full event and do some brainstorming and understand what the needs are of these local businesses and what their pain points are as a local business, getting their word out and offering so that people know about their business and that they even exist, right? So that's the goal, is to kind of put a magnifying glass throughout the year on each business and also help them offline, either connecting them with companies like Zaytech if they have a food business, or maybe some people come and they're marketing consultants, right? And you can onboard them to do all your marketing, and then you don't have to worry about it if you don't have the time because you work a 9 to 5 and commute in the Bay Area, and you only have some nights and weekends to really take time away from the kids to build your dream, right? So if we can kind of build this networking chamber to work with each other, to where the chamber can't take on everything for marketing for everybody, but we can help create a centralized registry and showcase each of these in emails and things like that, so that we
Well,
can,
and a chamber typically lends credibility to any business in town that's part of the chamber. That's kind of a primary thing that being part of the Chamber of Commerce offers. Right?
Sure.
So I think your timing seems like perfect. Obviously, you've thought this out and you've got some great plans, and this launch party should be a great way to.
There's a lot of sticky notes and
Bring it out.
lines on the wall in my house that I'm still trying to untangle,
Do
and
you use
that's
Post-it
why
notes?
I use digital, and there's sometimes I don't have the time to pull up my phone. I'll just write something down on a sticky note, and then it goes up on the wall where it's relative to the idea, and then it's a mess. But yeah, once I get this feedback on Sunday, it's going to help me kind of separate and scrap some of those sticky notes if they're way too off the wall, and that's where they belong, off the wall.
There you go. Well, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
having me.
And,
Thank you, Khalid. And
we'll look forward to having
Brian.
more with you.
yeah, alrighty.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks
you
to
guys.
all for tuning in, and we're going to have some more coming up in the next couple of weeks. So, pay attention. Moho TV, Mountain House Matters. We got it going on.
Woohoo!
For now, have a good night.
See you Sunday.